Hello and welcome to the Rope Access and Climbing Podcast. I'm your host, Mikey Stevenson, and today I'm going to let you know what is in my backcountry backpack. If this is your first time here, please make sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Step into your harness and get ready for a podcast about the vertical world. On today's episode, I am going to kind of cover the subject of what's in my day pack heading into the backcountry. First and foremost, we need to talk about some important things outside of the bag, starting out with footwear. Sandals are not appropriate. Your gym shoes are not appropriate. Mountaineering boots are appropriate footwear. However, depending on your objective, approach shoes or hiking boots also are appropriate footwear. Before heading into the backcountry, make sure you do your research to ensure that you select the proper footwear for your objective. All right, so after the footwear, the most important thing is selecting a proper bag. This is really going to be determined on the objective. As today's subject is about day pack, this is a 30-liter backpack that I use commonly for my one-day adventures. So I'm going to start with how I load my bag from the bottom to the top and talk about the essentials that I carry every day that I head into the backcountry. Starting out with the first aid kit. This is my standard 3 to 5 person first aid kit that I carry. It is obviously at the bottom of my bag. This is for your more serious emergencies. So CPR, excessive bleeding, and stuff like that. Next up is the SAM Splint. This is your traditional SAM Splint. It is a malleable splint for those arm injuries, leg injuries, stuff like that. It can also be used as a seat collar. Next up is the Bivy Sack. So here is my standard emergency bivy that I carry. They do come in different sizes, so this is not necessarily the only option out there. These are really critical if you end up in a situation where you have to spend it out in the backcountry overnight. Next up is a guides tarp or a sill tarp. These are extremely beneficial when you are heading into the backcountry into terrain that you've never explored before and you may end up having to bivvy overnight. This just gives you an additional shelter. Also, if you're heading up into the alpine or rock climbing and stuff like that and there's a chance of inclement weather blowing in that you may or may not be able to see, these definitely are a lifesaver. Next up is navigation. First start out with a map, then a compass. Having these tools is extremely important. Understanding how to use them is even more important. Educate yourself in the proper use. Water, extremely important. Make sure that you carry enough water for your outing. Traditionally, myself, I carry a minimum 1 liter. Depending on the objective, I may end up having to carry more. So along with hydration, you need to ensure that you're well fueled throughout the day. Little snack bars, crackers really go a long ways. And then packing this, take the bigger items, put them at the bottom, take the smaller items, put them at the top, so you always have something readily available. Knives and multi-tools are extremely helpful. Knives definitely help out with starting fires, so you can cut up some kindling. Multi-tools is a little bit more useful if you have any gear malfunctions and stuff like that. So definitely helps out. Get one of the two, but make sure you do have something with you. Make sure that you carry a headlamp with you and test it before heading out into the backcountry. So here I got batteries that do work, and unfortunately this one does not work. So make sure that you check your equipment prior to heading out there. These are extremely helpful if you're doing an early start or end up having to spend the night out on the mountain. Moving on, I also carry an additional first aid kit. This is something that I've generated over time. This combats cuts, scrapes, and minor sprains. So inside this Ziploc bag, I carry a tensor bandage, some tape, polysporin, Advil, blister pads, as well some afterbite, scissors, Band-Aids, and hand sanitizer. So this is found at the top of my bag for the more common situations. Another helpful item to carry is a foldable, breathable hat. Obviously, it kind of seems weird I'm wearing a hat right now, but for those sunny days in the backcountry, if you don't want to carry a normal hat like this, these are extremely helpful. For those sunny days, it protects your head as well as gives you a little bit of sun cover on your face. In addition to having a hat, sunscreen is extremely important. This is something that a lot of people do forget, so if you are packing your bag, throw this in. And finally, for the bag, make sure that you have sunglasses. This is something that I forget all the time. Learn from my mistakes, don't forget them. They are definitely helpful, even if you're in high altitude elevations, on the rock face, and definitely on glaciers, as a lot of people do burn their eyes from the reflections. Even if you're looking down, the reflection off the snow definitely hinders your ability to see. So make sure you always have some sort of sunglasses. So in addition to everything that is in your bag, dressing in layers is extremely important. This is stuff that can be worn on you. A lightweight synthetic mid-layer is essential for all objectives. For those colder shoulder season days, you can consider a heavier mid-layer. Lastly, the one item I will not leave the house without is a waterproof jacket. This will protect you from the wind, the rain, and other elements. Continuing on with what's outside of the bag, bear spray is extremely important. Make sure that anytime you're heading into bear territory, you do carry it. Before use, make sure that it is not expired and understand how to use it properly. Last but not least, we have hiking poles. These are extremely beneficial to preserve energy. They also protect your knees and your back on the ascents and descents of any type of objective or any long hikes.
All right, well, I hope that today's episode gave you a little bit of understanding of what I carry into the backcountry. Obviously, all this stuff is essential based on the different objective that I'm heading out to do. So if there's anything that you feel that I missed that you carry, make sure to let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely get back to you and let's have a discussion about it. Also, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, as I do post new videos every single Sunday. Make sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts as well. That would be muchly appreciated. Until next time.